I have now been joined by Steve Catt from the Last of the Misfit Heroes. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hi there. I'm very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, not doing too bad, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Brilliant. My pleasure. Obviously, I've listened to. Well, we've been chatting quite a lot over the last few weeks since the show that I did for Ed a couple of weeks ago, and I was really keen to get you on because really, I'm going to let you do the talking because I think that's probably the easiest thing. Tell the world how and why you do what you've done. All about the Last of the Misfit Heroes and how it all became about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, well, the band started. We started back in April last year, 2019, and the whole idea behind the band. I've played in bands all my life, really, and had mix of enjoyment and not so enjoying bits and pieces of it. But I got to a bit of a point in my own life that time, early last year. And I was having a few issues myself with mental health. And basically what I tried to do is sort of start again with my whole sort of thought process and trying to get myself out of a bit of a hole I got myself into. And one of those things that I started looking at again was, picking the guitar up again and playing music but doing it for the right reasons, really, and sort of looking at what it was I wanted to get out of music and what I enjoy doing in music. And I think over the years you sort of lose that enjoyment and, through different experiences and stuff, I'd sort of lost the love of music, if you like. And so part of me getting back or trying to get myself back into some sort of normality, I suppose, part of it was to put the band together and just do bits what we enjoy doing, really, which is, like, for me personally, I love writing songs, practicing and just doing the gigs, things like that. And we've been doing a few videos and been just creative, really. And it's really helped for me personally. I was struggling with, I suppose, overall depression, really. And I still have, good days and bad days, but what I did through this experience is really sort of start again and look at everything in my life and just try and see where things were going wrong. And so far, touch with the band, it's been really a positive thing. And we're starting to see, sort of the benefits of it now. We're starting to, we can, from that very first few practices of, just having a few ideas, we can now see, we've released an EP this year. We've just recorded another 6 songs.
Wow.
And like I say, we've got a video coming out today of When My Empire Falls. And, things are just sort of building up really nicely, but we're doing it all ourselves, which again is quite, it's quite satisfying, really, doing it ourselves. We're not relying on anyone else. We just sort of think, well, what do we want to do with this song? What do we do? And between the three of us, and then we've also got another guy, Gareth, who does the filming and the editing and things like that, the videos. Between the four of us, we're really creative, and it's being aware, I think, of what makes us happy by doing it, and just cutting out all the stuff that you don't really need to worry about, really. Which for us is we're not too, obviously we're concerned with what's going on and we can't gig, and for venues and for other bands it's a big problem. But for us, we're sort of quite happy at the moment with what we're doing and just trying to keep ourselves busy and positive, and and it seems to be working. So that's
because it's if I'm right in thinking, it's kind of a shared journey, isn't it? All three of you have had some sort of issues in the past, and it's almost like group therapy. We have done. I know definitely Ange, who plays bass. I've known him since we were at school together, so we were 5 years old. So we've been best mates since then. And I know he's had his own issues as well. And I think what we've tried to do is just use this band as a bit of an outlet, really. I think it's very easy to get dragged down with everyday life, if you like, and it's, for me personally, I think a lot of, because really, like I say, what happened basically was I got to a point where I hadn't dealt with depression, and then that led on to anxiety, and I've never really, for anyone who's never, anxiety is something I would never ever want to go through again. I was speaking to someone about it, actually, and I think I'd rather get in a ring with Joshua, Anthony Joshua, for a round and
do that rather than go for anxiety again, because the whole thing with getting in, having a fight with him, at least you understand what's hitting you.
Yeah.
You're going to get knocked out.
Yeah,
with anxiety, the more you try and fight it and the more you try and work out what's going on, the worse it can get.
Because you start analysing it and more thinking about it, and that snowballs. Yeah, exactly.
And the thing for me as well, I mean, I had to go and seek sort of medical help, really, because I just couldn't. I just stopped functioning. I remember the morning it happened. I can remember the day and the time, and I was just in the shower in the morning. I just said to my wife, "I can't do this anymore." I didn't really understand what that sort of meant at the time, but it was basically me just sort of saying, "Look, I can't do what I've been doing, up to this point. It's my mind has probably given me enough warning to try to tell me, I've given you enough warnings. You're not listening to me, and I'm just going to shut down." And and with the thing with anxiety and panic attacks, it like you say, it does build on itself. So if you start off with a thought, and then that thought goes somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else, and you lose control, your mind runs away with you.
Yeah.
And my main fear, I suppose, was when I realised I had a problem, I had to seek medical help. My fear was then, have I opened up a whole load of other issues? Is there something like seriously right? Am I ever going to come back from this, if you like? Because I couldn't get up, I couldn't go to work, I couldn't really look people in the eye. It was just an awful experience, and so basically, like I say, I had to sort of start again, and I had to give myself time just to go through it. I mean, I actually went through a bit of a darker period after that, because I was beating myself up so much, saying, "How have you let this happen to yourself?" If you like. But it's hard. It's really hard to, that first conversation you have, and you sort of tell people, like, I'm having problems. It is the hardest thing to be able to do. And I think, but the thing I found is by doing it, people are quite sort of honest and open with you as well. So, and I think that's the hardest thing. It's trying to, just being aware of what's happening to you, because part of the scary thing is I didn't know what was happening to me, so I couldn't rationalise it and say, "Oh, it's depression," or "It's this," because everything that I've done up to that point has sort of got me to that point, if you like, and I just didn't really understand how I'd let it get that bad. But now I haven't really changed a lot about what I've been. If you look at where I was before it happened, I'm still doing the same similar sort of job, and I'm playing in bands, but the whole thought process has changed. My whole mindset's had to change, and from there, it's really helped. Like even doing things like this, like now, just being able to talk about it, and just trying to, just being creative and just getting these sort of feelings out. It helps so much. I mean, one thing I did find starting off, because I've never given advice to anyone about how to deal with anxiety, depression. Because everyone is really quite different. Everyone's got, and that I'd never sort of tell anyone what they should do. But what if you are struggling to talk to anyone, what I basically did was took myself away for 5 minutes and started just chatting to myself on the phone, and just talking to myself, and then I can listen back to things now, and some of the things I was thinking are quite. I think, why were I thinking them? But at the time, you're so deep in this, in what's going on with your own head, and then it's a really hard situation, and it's not. And like I say, everyone's so different. It's hard to. It's not like one size fits all. So if you do this, you're going to get better. It's not like that at all. It's a difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to really to sort of try and get your head round, if you like. I mean,
I totally understand. It was funny though, because not funny, but one of the things you were saying about the way you sort of talk to yourself. I just saw a quote come up on the Livewire page, which is who we're raising money for today, and it said, "If a friend spoke to you the way that you speak to yourself sometimes, how long would that person be your friend?"
That is so true.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the one thing, and the reason, the one thing I've realised now, the main thing I've realised, and the reason I can do this, I can sit here and talk about it, is because I know that no one can say anything to me as bad as what I've said to myself over the last, and once you get that out of your head and you tell yourself and you realise that no one is going to say anything as bad as that, then everything gets a little bit easier. Then and then it's you can build your confidence. You can start working on what makes you happy. Then dealing with the bad stuff. But yeah, that's the scary bit. Is that I mean the problem is I suppose with myself is that I'm not quite. Some people show emotions in different ways. Some people might get aggressive. They may be, or even drink or whatever. People look for other ways out. With me, I'm quite, most of the time I'm quite level-headed. So if I, so when I was having a panic attack, inside I was a mess, a total mess. But if you were sitting in the same room as me, you might think I'm quiet, but you're not going to know what's going on, and it is scary. It is a scary place to be in.
The sort of swan effect, graceful on the outside and crazy underneath.
Underneath you don't. Exactly. That's exactly it. And I think the problem, like when we talk about, I mean, there's a thing again with mental health. We sort of like you put people into the category. So you sort of say people of this age are more likely to, for men as well, not talking. But I think it's more individual than that, really. So and I don't think that helps sometimes, like by putting yourself in a category, saying, well, I'm this age, I'm having a midlife crisis, because what that does is that's what I was sort of thinking. I'm having a midlife crisis. And then you sort of brush it off, if you like. And what it was my mind sort of telling me you've got sort of serious problems.
Yeah.
But I'm still brushing it off. I'm still trying to just carry on. And then, it's like anything. If something's broken, it's going to get to the point where it's just going to stop, and that's what happened really. So, but I mean, it is good that we're having chats like this, because I think it just sort of, just sort of raises awareness and just knowing that you're not alone, and then these things do happen to people is quite a big thing.
Absolutely. I mean, this whole thing was inspired, and the thing is, one of the things I've said quite a lot through the show today is that make sure you check on your mates, and that's not just the ones that are quiet. It's not just the ones that are angry. It's the ones that are the life and soul of the party, because this whole show and the whole reason we're doing this was inspired by one person that's affected me, if you like. Probably more my son, but because it was one of my son's best friends, someone that he idolized, who took his own life 2 years ago. And he was the life and soul of the party. The day before, he was giving me big hugs in the pub, and, the band had performed their best performance ever up to that point, and we were all known to this as a group of people, my son's band and the families around it. We were on a massive high, and then the next night it just all came tumbling down, and it was like you can't always tell, but so it's always worth. I mean, my son idolized this guy, and so did lots of other people. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional now. And he was an amazing man, and yet there was something that he didn't. I didn't realize it, or there was so much more going on that we just didn't see, and it's really difficult from the outside. If you see what I mean, and that's what like you were saying just now. I think it's totally, I totally agree with what you say there. I mean, you don't know really what's going on inside someone's head, and the thing is that they probably don't understand it themselves, and then you get to the point where these things unfortunately do happen. I mean, touch wood and everything. I think because of my anxiety got so bad, I sort of shut down. Yeah. So I'm not going to say I'm lucky, but I'm saying I think if that anxiety hadn't kicked off and I just carried on with my depression for longer and longer and longer, it would have got worse and worse. Where it could have ended up, I don't know, but you don't want to.
So in that respect, I was lucky that something went off in my mind saying, right, I've got a problem. But it's like you say. I watched a video of obviously Chester Bennington out of Lincoln Park, and his wife posted up a video of him that evening before he took his life, and he's sitting there laughing around the table with his kids, and this is it. Like you say, you got on the outside people appear to be happy. there's so many different sides to people, isn't there? And sometimes that side that no one sees takes over the side that everyone thinks they see or everyone sees. And that when that happens, I think that's when it becomes, could become an issue and a problem. I mean,
excuse me, I know we're on video. The people on on Radio Land don't know that we're talking face to face on video. If I look away over there, it's because I have some notes on my laptop over there, and they're right over on the other side over here. So I'm not ignoring you. So, I mean, I've got some questions, obviously, as well, and because let's talk about what you've done and what you're doing. So, do you want to go through the writing process for the EP?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So with all the material really up until now, it's been basically I come up with the ideas, the musical ideas, and a lot of the lyrics. And then what I do is I take it to the other two, Chris, who's the drummer, and Ange, who plays bass. And then we, the three of us, sit down and we sort of put the arrangements in and turn them into songs, if you like, with the three of us. So yeah, I mean, it sort of started off with I'm constantly writing, and so I've got hundreds of ideas. And again, like I was talking about earlier about talking to myself, I use my phone as well just to hum out some tunes and things like that. So I've got a whole, we've got 10 songs that are all done and finished, but we've probably got another 20 or so which we could turn around quite quickly. So it's just getting it all out of my head. So yeah, the creative writing starts with me, I suppose, and then then I take it to the band and we go from there. But what we've been doing since lockdown sort of thing, we've still been able to practice. So the last couple of sessions we've been just sort of jamming as well, and so like Ange started with a bass line this week, and we sort of just went from there. So we're getting songs that way as well. So that's been a really good experience, to be honest. But yeah, I think the good thing with this is that everyone has an input in it, and there's we haven't got a fixed way of doing it. So it's not like one person says, "Right, this is how we're going to do it." It's definitely a band effort, That's
brilliant. So it could start with a bass line, or it could start with the lyric, or it could start with the melody in your head. Yeah, that's cool.
This is it. Yeah, and it grows from there. So it's again, like I'm saying, it's quite satisfying, and it picks out the it's good to be aware of what how it makes you feel when you you get an idea and then you can see it grow and you can see it get bigger and then end up in a video or end up on the EP, and it's satisfying. It feels like you've achieved something there.
Are you consciously going to stick with the theme, or will you just grow as the music develops and as the lyrics come? I think we did start off. I think the first definitely on the EP, all 4 songs are influenced by mental health really. Actually, Ange wrote the lyrics for Pieces, which. It's really it's quite a dark song, but I think again for him it gets the it just gets it out of his system really, and it's good that we can do that. But I think that really the first batch of songs we did were definitely influenced with what we've been through. But we are starting to write a few more. We've actually just written a song that we've recorded, which is looking at just the whole thing that's going on in the world at the moment with everything that's happening isn't good for people's mental health at all. No. I mean so the whole lockdown thing, the whole everything, it's just it doesn't look good, does it? So that doesn't help. So but it's great for us material wise, but not good exactly.
for everyday life.
You're in Croydon, aren't you? Is it Croydon you're in?
We are, we're based in Croydon. I'm just outside, but we're basically
it's my old stomping ground.
Oh, is it? Oh,
sort of. I had a pub in Bromley, and
okay.
And I was linked to a pub in Croydon, so I would support there was a townhouse. It used to be a townhouse back in the day in Croydon. I used to support them because I opened the townhouse in Bromley. Back in the day, we're talking in the 90s.
So I used to drink in the townhouse all the time, and it would have been the 90s. So
So I was sort of involved in the development of that as well. So so it's my old stomping ground. I emigrated to the southwest about 14 years ago now. So, but I sort of settled in the southeast when my dad came out of the army. So we settled in the southeast, but sort of Gillingham area, but I ended up working in Bromley and Croydon, and my wife used to work in Alders.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. I think Ange used to, he worked there. He started off doing a Christmas job when we left school, and he was there for a year or so, I think. So yeah, he was in there for a while. So,
that's a funny place that was. So I don't know if it's still. I don't know if it's down. I think it's not there, isn't it anymore? Is it?
I don't think it's there. No,
I don't think you could ever. I never came out the same door I went in.
Yeah, that's right. I had that sort of parade thing down the middle, didn't it? And then you sort of made it up all over the place. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, anyway, I just suddenly remembered, and I was thinking, oh yeah, Croydon, concrete jungle.
Yeah. Well, it is definitely but they're knocking half of it down now, and
they're making it it's not, more aesthetic.
Yeah, it's not a great place though.
I always remember I had an off license in Thornton Heath. Even earlier in the late 80s, and I remember driving over to Croydon, and it was like you've got all these Victorian terraces, and then you sort of go over a railway bridge, and all of a sudden this concrete metropolis just looms up out of the ground,
right?
And that's my memory of driving to Croydon. But used to go to Selhurst Park all the time and watch football as well. But
okay,
not that I was a Palace fan. I wasn't a Palace fan, but because I was around the corner. And I shut my afternoons. It was like, let's go watch football. It's nice and local. Anyway,
good stuff.
We digressed. So, I guess, I mean, what are you musical influences? What sort of things do you listen to?
Influences. I've got loads of influences really, but we sort of started off when I was at school. Me and Ange picked the guitar up at the same time, and we started listening to sort of Iron Maiden. So it's early sort of metal stuff. I mean, my dad had a couple of albums, which I remember. He had Burned by Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin 4. So Burn is one of my favourite albums ever. That's a fantastic album. So I started quite high, really, because if you look at who, like Richard Blackmore's guitar playing is incredible, and then you got David Coverdale singing and Glenn Hughes and like obviously John Lord and Ian Pace. I mean, it's a dream sort of lineup really. So I'm really influenced by the early sort of heavy stuff like Black Sabbath as well. Big influence. Then anything really riffy sort of stands out for me. And then, but as we sort of got older, me and Ange started playing sort of thrash stuff. We got into Metallica, Megadeth, even Slayer. I think we did a Slayer cover as well at some point. So we went quite heavy. And then sort of through the 90s, I was more sort of punk, I suppose, punky, grungy sort of stuff. And then, I didn't play in band for quite a while, and then we've come back to this. And, I think, what we've tried to do, we don't sort of sit down and say what sort of style do we want to do, or what song, what style of song do we want to do. We just sort of sit down and just sort of knock out a few things between us. And I think being a three-piece, it's quite nice that you can put your own sort of style on it, your own sort of signature on it. I mean, some of Andrew's bass work is great. I mean, he's basically a guitarist who plays. Well, he started with bass, then went to guitar, and then he's gone back to bass. But some of the stuff he plays on that is fantastic. Especially on pieces, there's a really good bass line on that. So it's quite nice to get. We can put our own signature on stuff, and we can just enjoy it really. And I mean, it's all very basic stuff. It's like just whack a guitar for a distorted amp, and then just knock out a few riffs and then take it from there really. So but mainly now what I'm sort of been listening to, there's some new bands coming up who I'm really into is St. Agnes.
That's from down our way. They're from down
our way. Right.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. I saw them they did Croydon Rocks last year, 2019, and I love their stuff. I've listened to that quite a lot. And then there's a few other bands, Salvation Jane, who I'll mention them. They're really good as well. And actually, the bass player, the bass player Dan, he produced our stuff as well. Right. We recorded it in his studio. So so they're really I've been listening to a lot of them as well. So it's been quite good, like sort of catch up with all these new bands really, and some really good new stuff coming out. And
I think it's brilliant. Yeah, what's going on at the moment, especially in the UK. Earlier on, I was talking to a chap in New York, and they've got nothing. There are a few good new American bands, but they're not getting played over there. Everything's in the UK. It's the UK, if you like, underground, but it's starting to push up. You know, I mean, obviously we've got Planet Rock that is now starting to play new bands at last. It took a while to get that across, but they are starting to play. And then the internet, the upsurgence, if you like, of internet radio was really giving great opportunity to the new bands. I mean, there are so many of us internet radio stations out there now.
Yeah. Oh no, it is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty lucky with the response we've been getting from the EP. We've done a few. I've done a few interviews out in America, and there's a radio station in Tennessee. I was talking to a DJ out there, and she was, like you say about the English band. She sort of loves what's sort of coming through, and there's a lot of interest really about what's going on. So that's really positive. That's really positive. So.
Shall we play Pieces?
Yeah. Let's have a go at Pieces.
Let's play Pieces, and then we'll come back and chat after. This is Last of the Misfit Heroes and Pieces. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Last of the Misfit Heroes and Pieces, and I still have Steve here on the line. So, Steve, you are making a documentary about how you began, so to speak, and why.
Exactly. We're going to call it Creating a Misfit, and the idea behind it is really all the way through. We've sort of documented where we started. We recorded a few of the early rehearsals, and then we recorded the first gig we did, which was last August. And then we've got a bit of footage from the studio, and all the while we've been doing not interviews as such, but we've been putting little snippets of stuff together of how things have been coming together, and how we've been sort of sharing experiences and how it's been growing really. So the idea is to sort of for us as well, just to see how far we've sort of come and how far we're going with it. But it's quite nice. We've got a few people involved who have done a few little interview snippets for us, and there'll be some live footage. And we're going to talk about the videos that we've been recording as well. So we're now, I think we're on our third video from the EP. So they've all been like mini feature project we've been doing. So we're going to talk about that, and just everything in general, really, about how the band's how we've got to where we are and where we want to go with it, really. And it's just going to be another thing that we can do, really, while we're sort of sitting around not being able to gig.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
You've put a teaser out on YouTube, haven't you? So there is a teaser.
We have, there is a. We actually recorded that one. Well, we recorded that teaser, I think about a year ago now, actually.
Yeah.
I've had this idea for doing a documentary ever since we started, so it's always been in the back of my mind. And I'll be honest, actually, sometimes I thought about, I must sit down and do it. But then sometimes, I suppose the subject matter sometimes is a bit, because if I'm in a good mood, do I really want to go back and sort of look at, where I sort of started from? Because it's a really tricky one, to be honest. I mean, the whole idea is not to sort of do this as, it's not saying, look what you can do, sort of thing. It's more like, well, this has happened. How do we get out of it, and what can we do to do it despite having these problems, sort of thing? It's not promoting, it's not, look at us, look what we can do. It's more the opposite of that, sort of like, what can you do if you push yourself in the right way? And that's what we're going.
Have you thought about when you're likely to finish it, or do you think you'll maybe put it out in line with an album or something like that?
We're hoping to. Well, we've got these 6 songs that we've recorded, so ideally, I'd like to get the documentary out before the new material comes out, and then. So what we might do is put. We've actually got a song called "Creating a Monster," which we might put out at the same time as with Creating a Misfit, the documentary sort of thing.
That makes sense.
And then from there, we'll then move on to doing putting the new songs out. And I think we will put an album out because we've got the 10 songs recorded now. So they're all going to be. We're going to sort of stagger when we release the songs every month or so. We'll put a couple out. And then at the end of it, we'll put a physical CD together and try and sell it that way. And then we'll sort of move on to the second album, if you like, and hopefully by then we'll be able to get out and gig and promote it. Really,
fingers crossed.
That's the plan.
Have you thought about that yet, or are you waiting to see what happens?
Well, we had actually booked a gig 26th of September. There was a bar in Tower Bridge, the Raven. And we were set to play it all the while. It was about a week before they cancelled it. So we'd done a lot of promotion and got a lot of people sort of quite interested. And then to be sort of the last minute to sort of tell everyone, we're not doing it is. So we'd rather wait, I think, now and just wait until it's sort of safe and we know what's going to be happening and it's going to definitely go ahead before we start pushing it. It's not, you don't want to keep getting people buying tickets and then turn around and say that it's not happening. That's not ideal.
Yeah, no,
I can see one.
As a punter, I know how that feels. I got tickets to go see Saxon at Hammersmith Apollo.
Right.
It's been postponed 3 times now. So I'm like, come on. It's frustrating, very frustrating. You get close and you think, we might just make it. And it was due on like the week after lockdown. That's when that's when the second one. The first one was because Biff had his heart issue and had to go in hospital. So it was last September, October time. So it was postponed for that till the 28th of March. And of course, and you're thinking, we can just hang this out. Come on, don't lock down yet. Don't lock down it. And then it was gone. And then it was going to be September. And then that was no good. Now it's next May.
Right.
But as a punter, I know what you mean. You don't want to keep having to. And it's like, does the money go forwards and backwards? Do we keep the money? How does how do our fans feel about us keeping the money? And I guess and that sort of thing. Because obviously a lot of them have been postponements, which means you don't get your money back. Whereas some are cancelled and you get your money back, which is fine. And you don't mind, you want to still go, but but it's a very tricky one at the moment, isn't it? Because you don't want to, you want to be playing. I mean, we love to be out playing, but for the amount of hassle it could cause or it does cause, we're just going to hold off and wait till
sort of early next year, hopefully, and then see where we are then. I mean, we are sort of ready to go as soon as things pick up. We're going to keep the practicing going and doing keep writing and doing what we can. But yeah, we're ready to go when it all comes back again. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah.
So one of the questions I asked the other people I've asked today, remember they were abroad. One's in Australia, one's in America. So I had to explain to them what our lovely Chancellor said about musicians and artists allegedly, or maybe not now because maybe ITV said but reported it wrong. Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a day job as well? Then do you? So you don't have to retrain?
I do. Yeah. I'd see. Yeah, for me, I do sort of account stuff. So it's a total opposite to playing in a band. But for me, I at the moment I actually got made redundant in August, but I managed to find a sort of short-term work, and I think looking at it, that's what it's going to be like for me for the foreseeable. Really, is going to do these short-term contracts because no one wants to employ anyone because no one knows where they're going to be in 6 months' time for a year. Yeah. But it's pretty gloomy, isn't it? I think, but the retraining thing is just
I understood it like when the steelworks closed in Sheffield and that you can understand that, because it was never going to come back, and they had loads of money into retraining people and helping them get into different careers. But could you imagine life without music and entertainment?
No, it's not good, is it? It's not. No, I don't think it's. It would. Yeah, it does definitely need it. I mean, we can't. Yeah,
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine going even a couple of hours without any music.
No,
I listen in the car. And I think wake up when I go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like what we were talking about earlier about the whole creative thing, and just. But I mean, like I was saying, a lot of my problems I sort of cut off because I wasn't really playing in a band for quite a long time, and I lost that whole creative edge, if you like, and I just got dragged in. I just got caught up in working. I was working quite a stressful job, and I had no outlet really. But from doing this band and getting back into music and really enjoying music and discovering new bands and things like that, it is such a positive thing and such and it's escapism as well. It's just. I mean, I love sticking, like I was saying about Iron Maiden, I love sticking one of their albums on because, they're singing about crazy stuff, like the Charger Light Brigade or something, just something you wouldn't hear on the song. And it's fantastic. The whole thing just takes you somewhere else. It's great.
Yeah, it's also educational, of course, because obviously you refer to Trooper and Charge the Light Brigade, but also you've got, there's so much. There was the Zeppelins and the Empire of the Skies, but I think I did a section in one of my shows once with about I think it was near the beginning of the lockdown, and I did a homeschooling section by music.
Oh right,
and like Dallas 1 PM from Saxon. But Biff, I met Biff. And this is the sad thing. My son introduced me to Biff. It was bizarre. He was helping out backstage at a temperance movement concert. He's only 16, but he was about 14 at the time. I think 14 at the time. And he was helping out backstage because the promoter was his guitar teacher. And so it was Naked Six was supporting temperance movement, and because Naked Six Seb is Biff's son, so I didn't know anything about this. I knew he was working backstage and helping out with the promoter and everything, and then temperance movement came on and said, "Oh, we've got rock royalty in here today," and they went, "Biff Byford's here," and I went, "What? A childhood hero." Right. Oh, yeah, my son goes, "Oh, was that the guy with the long hair backstage?" He didn't know who he was, but he had an all access, all areas pass. So he goes, I'll go get him for you at the end of the gig. So, and Biff said to me about the Dallas 1 PM because the actual shot was at 12:30, but he lived for half an hour. So that was and so the 1 PM refers to the moment he passed away. He died. Not the time he was shot. Right, okay. So that's worth just for people, anyone that's listening and doing history exams, Dallas 1 p.m. is the time he died, not the time he was shot. He was shot at 12:30.
Right.
But so a lot of people think he was shot at 1, but it's not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So but there's so much history in music, and definitely.
Definitely.
I mean, I love Saxon anyway. For that reason, they wrote songs about things that no one else wrote songs about, steam engines and things.
Yeah. No, it's great, isn't it? It's just, because that's the thing with music. You can do and write. You can do whatever you want, really, and it's a free. You know, I love. I mean, what I've done with this band is everything I write is. I'm not putting any sort of barriers on it or boundaries on it. So we just write what we want, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
I'm just turning my head around, so have a quick look, see if I've got everything I was going to say, I mean, obviously, if you were coming out, at the moment, were you gigging and that? Would you, when you do start gigging, are you going to keep it in the southeast, or are you looking to move around the country a bit more? Ideally, we'd like to sort of get to as many places as we can. We've actually been, as we were sort of building up, we started doing gigs in January. We did the Dublin Castle in Camden, which went really well, and then we had a whole load of gigs lined up, which we obviously had to cancel and postpone on, and some of them were a bit further out. Some like there's one in Brighton and a few other places. But we really want to push ourselves as far as we can. Really, I've been speaking to there's a band called Royal Bloom up in Scotland. And I've been chatting to them, and the idea is as soon as we can get out gigging, hopefully next year, we'll do a gig up there in Ayr. They'll come down to London. We'll do we'll sort of gigs and things like that. So that'd be really good. That's the sort of thing we've been trying to do, really, is get in contact with bands all around the country, and to be able to do something like that would be fantastic. What I was going to say is that the obviously what I'm doing today, the 24-hour thing show, is to raise money for this Livewire Youth Music, which is actually a 250 capacity venue as well.
Right.
I just wonder, I think what would be absolutely amazing if at some point you guys, once everything's reached to some form of normal, would be to maybe come down and play on a bill down here. But I think it would be absolutely amazing if because they have youth nights on a Monday, Wednesday and a Thursday, but Mondays and Thursdays are for the older kids up to 21. And I think, sharing your experience one-to-one, that'd be, or on stage there, and talking to some of the young people there, probably pretty amazing, actually. Because I don't know if you've had a chance to have a look what it's about, but if you do, I mean, have a look.
Yeah, I did have a quick.
Yeah. I mean, we had Andy in earlier on, and he's an amazing geezer. And but he does a brilliant job down there, and he's got Pete Townsend behind him as well, which is quite handy. They have his recording desk there, and Pete Townsend's recording desk and his pool table.
Okay. Oh, good.
So we've got this, but at the same time they do the mental health for young people as well. They've got professional practice, counsellors that support people, young people that are going through a tougher time. You got all these different levels. And one of the things that's beautiful about down there is that when everyone's together, you can't tell which ones are having the tough time and which ones are not. It's such an awesome, inclusive place. I think it'd be amazing if you guys could come over at some point in
definitely.
Norm. So I think
we would definitely be up for that.
I think we need to keep you in touch to try and sort something like that. That'd be amazing. Definitely. We would be up to doing that. I mean, anything to sort of raise awareness and just having a conversation about it. I mean, we're more than happy to do that. I mean, we have been working with another sort of charity, Papyrus, who do prevention of young suicide, and we've a couple of gigs we did in Croydon. We had that evenings to raise money for them, and again, it's just raising awareness. They do a good thing. If they do things for parents as well, so if like a child's struggling or they don't know how to, what they should be doing or saying, there's a whole load of information on their website, which is really good. And I think that's a lot of it is just
as soon as you mention mental health, it's quite a scary subject, and I don't think people know how to deal with it or how to approach it in the right way. Or I mean, not that there is really a right or wrong way. No. Obviously, it's wrong. That's not right. But there's ways of doing it, and just being aware of that is quite good.
Definitely. Right, I think I'm going to play one of your songs, and I'm going to let you go. All right, but it's been absolutely amazing talking to you, and it's nice to see you as well, face to face.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my really pleasure. Good. I'm going to play "When My Empire Falls." And brilliant. Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work there. I'm going to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be listening in.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And as I say, we'll keep in touch, and hopefully maybe we can make this happen to come down to the Southwest. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant.
Steve, you've been a star. Right. Let me just put this song on, and then I'll say goodbye.
Right to the bone.